Welcome to Mixed Combat Radio. It is Matt Hunter here today to give the live play-by-play and immediate reaction to Demetrius Andrade versus Jack Culcay in Germany. It's about to start any minute now. My boy Santiago is trying to hurry up and get on and help me out with this live play-by-play and telecast, but I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. So we're going to have to start without him, unfortunately. Love you, Santiago. You're the best, but we got to move on. So maybe he's going to jump on later. I do not know. But hold on, I'm sending him the link actually right now in case he is going to jump on. Hope he does. Man, always getting his pizza. You know how it is. It looks like the ring walks are happening right now. Man, I cannot wait for this fight, honestly. Mainly because I just love seeing Demetrius Andrade fight, and the last time we were able to see him fight, man, what was it? Was it against Willie Nelson? And that was, no, I can't be the Willie Nelson fight. Damn, I'm going to look that up right now. I should have looked up before, but they're walking out. We got time. We always have time to kill. You know how it is. I hope everyone's having a good Saturday. Obviously we had the Clarissa Shields fight last night on Showbox. She looked excellent. And obviously we have the David Lemieux versus Curtis Stevens fight on HBO later tonight. Plus Juan Frisco Estrada is fighting. Plus Luis Nery is on the undercard. One of the best prospects in boxing. One of the heaviest hitters in boxing right now. So it should be a good night of fights. Obviously, if you're watching this show, you're probably at least aware that I talk MMA, even though this is a boxing-centric episode. So we have UFC Fortaleza, Vitor Belfort versus Kelvin Gastelum is also later tonight on FS1. Definitely going to be watching that. I'll probably even do a live immediate reaction to both David Lemieux, Curtis Stevens, and UFC Fortaleza. If they obviously get over around the same time, which I hope they do. Because me, I can just pull them both up and watch them at the same time. But Demetrius Andrade, man, one of the, with a KO percentage of 70%, 23 wins, 16 by KO, undefeated, no draws, 6'1" for 154. That's a big guy. Yes, his last fight was Willie Nelson, June 11th of last year at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York. And that's also, just for the record, also where the fight is tonight for Curtis Stevens, David Lemieux. Little stitch back right there, you know what I mean? And now they're just showing the weigh-ins right now, and obviously there's just a massive size difference between these two men. I'll be honest, I'm picking... Man, oh my God. Andrade is almost like a head taller than him. Andrade should be able to showcase against this guy if he's that good. And you have the Andrade. I'm going to keep calling him Andrade just because that's what he was originally called. Not on purpose, just because that's just what is natural. But I digress. I think that if Andrade is what everyone seems to be making him out to be, then he should be able to whoop this guy, right? And obviously he had the split decision against Vance Monterosen, but Vance Monterosen makes everyone kind of look bad. He had the unanimous decision against Freddie Hernandez, and Freddie Hernandez is sort of the gatekeeper to the top 15, in my opinion. You beat him, you belong in the top 15. But, he never really put out the guys that he should put out. I mean, he obviously knocked out Brian Rose, but, come on, it's Brian Rose. That's not like it's a massive accomplishment. So he needs a big win, and unfortunately, this isn't it. Let's just be honest that this world title fight for the WBA is it's kind of pointless. It's just like I'm ready to see Demetrius Andrade against the Jamel Charlo, against Ezralandi Laura. Heck, again, I'll take him against Lubin. I'll take him against Jarrett Hurd. I want to see him against those guys, not Jack Culcay. What does he have to offer Demetrius Andrade in terms of a resume building? He doesn't. It's not, this isn't even being televised in the U.S. Come on. So it is upsetting from a fan of the sport standpoint, because obviously we want everyone to succeed. We want the sport to succeed as a whole. And how does that happen? By more and more stars and more elite fighters making the divisions deep and making it entertaining and adding natural storylines. Demetrius Andrade naturally adds storylines to the 154-pound division, and he's just not being put in there to create those storylines correctly. He did crash the Jamal Charlo J-Rock fight, and obviously Jamal Charlo did move up to 160, which I don't fault him because he was massive, and I even think Andrade is going to move up and should move up eventually just because of the weight. He would be a natural middleweight and taller than Triple G. Like, that's, people are forgetting that at 6'1", he's going to be taller than every one of these guys. So, man, they're showing some highlights. Really explosive southpaw. And one thing I like about his southpaw, and I've said this on the Boxing Voice a lot, and I don't think I really stated it outright, and I probably should, is that when you are southpaw and you don't have a dominant lead hand, that's something of a concern. And mainly because you have nothing to keep your guy back. You don't have a strong lead hand. You don't have a strong lead hook, check hook, strong jab. Even if you're facing an orthodox guy, everyone says southpaws give orthodox guys trouble. If you don't have a strong lead hand, that's going to cause issues. They're showing that Demetrius Andrade when he got knocked down by Vance Montrose, and I forgot about that. Man, he came back tough though. I like that. But again, Montrose makes everyone look bad in that division. He just does. He has that knack. But yeah, back to the point. I digress. We look at like the Mikey Garcia Dejan Zlatican fight. Zlatican did not have a strong lead hand. That was my main concern going to that fight. Even though I picked Zlatican, and that was an obvious concern. I probably should focus on it more, looking at the result of the fight. So when we look at Demetrius Andrade and we see that he does have a good lead hand, that's something that as a viewer I can be more sure about his skill, or that his level of talent. Because for a southpaw, especially if you're a powerful southpaw, it becomes almost a trap, because you're southpaw, that you want to have that massive left hand. Similar to like Adonis Stevenson. Like, I would say Adonis Stevenson is more of a left hand dominant southpaw. The fact that he doesn't have that amazing check hook. Zlatican is obviously a prime example of that. But I think they are doing the anthems right now. I could be wrong. We're still doing the walkouts. They're doing a lot of promos for this fight leading up to it right now. So that's good. Get us all hyped for it. But yes, obviously check back to our last episode when we discussed George St. Pierre versus Michael Bisping, UFC 209 review, and obviously my full breakdown and preview of UFC Fortaleza, Brazil. And if you want any of my boxing picks for this weekend, obviously check out my work with the Boxing Voice, theboxingvoice.com, patreon.com/theboxingvoice, YouTube /theboxingvoice, etc., iTunes, the Boxing Voice, everything like that. Our Thursday episode, I did my predictions for boxing this weekend, if you want to go check that out. And obviously I picked Andrade to win. I mean, oh my God, they're still getting. Oh no, I said earlier. I was like, man, they're just getting their hand wraps and they're doing the anthems. I mean, they need to hurry this up. But no, I said earlier, my bad. But I'm trying to find something right now on my phone. Sorry about that. Fight's not on yet. We can be a little bit lazy right now. I'm trying to check my videos live, and it says I have viewers, so I believe it's live. For some reason, it's not popping up on my phone or browser, which is weird. Sometimes it does that. But Andrade, I think that since he is almost like the Triple G of the junior middleweight division, and the fact that he can't get a big fight, quote unquote, should he move up? I've heard that argument a lot, and I don't necessarily blame the argument or blame the people giving the argument because when you can't get a big fight in your division, what do? You go in search of big fights. You go find a big fight. Like even though we give Amir Khan shit for the Canelo fight, he was looking for a big fight and he found the person that was willing to give him the big fight. That's what happened. He was looking for the Manny Pacquiao fight back then, if we forget. He was looking for the Mayweather fight, all that stuff. He couldn't get those. So you got the next best thing, which was Canelo. Kell Brook obviously had the Earl Spence fight on the docket when he took the Triple G fight, but it's not like Earl Spence is a big fight in terms of monetary value, especially back then. Obviously, the fight has gained some steam and hype. Talking about Kell Brook versus Earl Spence, but the Triple G fight was the biggest fight available for him at the time, or at least the biggest fight that they were offering him. So, we don't, we at least shouldn't blame those guys, Amir Khan, Kell Brook specifically, for going after big fights, even though we knew the outcome of them. Just like we shouldn't blame Andrade for necessarily potentially leaving the junior middleweight division in search of bigger fights. That's a possibility. And even then, if he especially goes out there and starches Culcay, and he moves up, obviously he's probably gonna go after the Jamal Charlo fight again, even though it's in a new division. Why wouldn't he go after that fight? The Triple G fight, the Canelo fight, Billy Joe Saunders fight, those are all big fights for him. Those can all make money. If he went over to the UK and fought Billy Joe Saunders, even though Billy Joe Saunders isn't a star over there because he's not, and he's on Box Nation, which is completely different than Sky Sports in terms of monetary value or potential, it's still more of a money fight over there, and it's still more of a money fight than anyone else he's been fighting recently. I don't know how much he's making for this fight. I could probably look that up, especially if I had somebody else co-hosting with me. Santiago, where are you? Man, I hate this part. The one bad thing about overseas fights is that they take forever. And there was a moment where I thought we were going to watch the whole freaking card starting at 1 p.m. my time. Luckily, it's the Andrade Culcay fight next, because I was like, oh my God, we're going to watch all these cruiserweight and heavyweight fights from the Ukraine, Poland, Russia, everywhere that I have no idea who they are. I do not want to see that. They are in Friedrich Ebert Hall, Lugenstein, Germany. And I totally butchered that. Yeah. I'm going to stay away from all names as much as possible. Oh, finally my video's showing up. Psh, finally. I was getting worried there. I thought I was the only one here. Fern goalie, man. You're literally just like saying the same thing that I am. Hands are being wrapped right now. Never mind. It was a video from earlier. Stop stealing my shit, Fern. You're too high, man. You need to sober up. I'll maybe back in a minute while they are doing these intros, because I really don't give a shit about these intros. I need some water. Be right back. I'm going to play you my my beautiful production that I made way back in the day, and it's famous for being the intro and outro to this podcast. So enjoy. I am back. Told you I was going to be right back. Don't you worry. Jack Culcay making his walk out right now, having that nervous energy. You can tell he's shaking. You know, he's about to face the biggest opponent of his life, literally, in terms of physique and in terms of skill and hype. Germany's own right here, making the walkout. One thing I do like about Germany is the crowds always come out. You know, it always seems like a good atmosphere. Packed atmosphere, packed house. That's always a good thing. You know. Jack Culcay wearing the gold and black trim shorts. Demetrius Andrade wearing the black and white trim shorts, it looks like. Both men looking to make a statement at the 154-pound division, who will put themselves in position for unification fights against Jared Hurd, Jamel Charlo, or Ezoulandi Laura. We do not know. We cannot wait. Man, I'm feeling like Andrade's about to put the hurt on him. You know, he hasn't fought in a while. He's been pent up. This is not going to go well for Miss Jack Culcay here, unfortunately, in my opinion. You know, there's the things, you know, especially since Culcay only has a 50% knockout rate. It's not like he's going to go in there and ice Andrade. You know, like Marta Rosen has a comparable knockout rate to that, I would feel like, but way more pop on his shots and fought way better competition. I mean, Culcay has fought no one. Nobody. So, unless he's some boxing legend. Fern, you crack me up, man. No, I'm not. Not that, Fern. I'm just I'm waiting for this, man. I'm waiting for the fight to happen to start, man. I hate the introductions. They take forever. I'm the type of guy, especially if I'm not like in need of working the fight, I'll press record, especially if it's on American television. I'll press record and I'll skip all the commercials, skip the introductions, and just go to the fights because that's all I want to see. Especially when I don't have the sound on. You don't have the sound on. I don't have the atmosphere. I don't have these amazing national anthems to listen to right now. You know, I don't even know the German national anthem. It must be amazing. Not terrifying at all. You know, I want to hear you guys in the live YouTube chat. You know, if Andrade beats this guy, which we all kind of assume he does, who do you want to see him fight next? You know, do you want to be a Jamel Charlo? Do you want to be Ezoulandi Laura? Do you want to be Jared Hurd? Erickson Lubin, maybe? You know, what names do you guys want to see him fight? What's his nationality, friend? He's American. Really? Are you do you not know that, friend goalie? And for those listening, maybe on like a podcast on iTunes later on, if you don't know who I'm talking to, we do have all YouTube videos have a live chat you can go to where the people listening can chat, comment, have discourse about what I'm talking about, what the topic is. And right now, my boy Fern Goalie is always who's his uh is it Bannon? I think it's Bannon Promotions or Banner Promotions or whatever. I believe Hands of Stone. In terms of Demetrius Andrade promoter, that's who I believe it is. Don't quote me on that. That's one thing I always get wrong as the promoters. I will admit that. You know why? Because your boy over here does not give a fuck about who is whose promoter. I just want to see the best fight the best. The ring walk was a different flag. Are you sure? Maybe it was like Dominican or Haitian or something like that, you know? Maybe he walks out with both flags. Tito Ortiz in the UFC used to walk out to a double flag, where one side it was the Mexican flag and one side it was the American flag to symbol his Mexican-American heritage. Fern, you can't just say everything about a person based off a flag. And you may have been thinking about Jack Culcay. I don't know who you know. Demetrius Andrade is the African-American fighter. Jack Culcay is the small, tan, white guy. Hands of stone. If you want to know why your article hasn't been published, Hands of Stone, it's because I just haven't gotten to it. I am a one-man editor, and we have tons of interviews, videos, podcasts, other things to edit. And plus, I have other things to do. The website's not the main priority. Our YouTube videos are, our podcast is, because just in actuality, it makes more money. Not that I don't want your article. We're definitely going to publish it. But also, Hands of Stone, I need your actual name. And I need your email, actual name. Yes, I have read it. It's good stuff. Really good article. I like it. I was supposed to email you. I was going to email you a couple days ago, but just family stuff came in. Other stuff got prioritized. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. You want to shit on our website, that's fine, but it is just me editing and publishing everything to the website. So I'm sorry if I haven't gotten to it. Fern, you touch. Oh, okay, here we go. Round 1 started. We'll get to your issues later, Hands of Stone, but I need your actual name and email. You can obviously find my email on my Twitter account, so please do that. Jack Culcay just, pawing out his lead hand, trying to find that range. Definitely seems to want to be on the outside, does not want to be inside on the back foot. Andrade not really throwing any feints, but just sort of just walking him down, just with his body through a good placement jab, trying to find his range as well. Definitely tell it's just a massive size difference. I mean, Culcay looks like a junior lightweight in there, man, compared to Andrade. He just looks tiny. Culcay missing a couple shots. Andrade with 2 lunging left hooks. Do not connect, but he was aiming to the chest. You can tell they're just trying to get the range down. Only a minute into the first round. Good jab to the body by Andrade. Culcay, another good jab by Andrade. This one actually got some sting on it and landing clean a little bit. You can tell that Culcay is definitely frightened from that power, does not want to be in there for too long, which is interesting because the tradition is that if you're a small fighter with a smaller reach, you want to get on the inside and work the body, bully him up. But because he has the lack of power, good flurry by, there we go, Culcay. He pressured Andrade, landed a few shots to the body, nothing significant, but it was a good explosive forward motion that definitely caught Andrade off guard, but nothing landing clean. And I can tell right now that the power of Culcay is really nothing to fear, and definitely lesser of that than Martirosyan. Did another explosive lunging in, good left hook to the body by Culcay. Andrade just sort of letting him in and throwing off on him. I don't know if he's just getting that first round jitters out, or if he just is totally not respecting Culcay's power. That's something to look out for. And yes, Hands of Stone, this is a sparring session in a way. Like, this is easy work. But we haven't seen him fight since June of last year, so I want to see Andrade fight. Good 3-punch combination about Culcay. Good right hand landed. Again, nothing clean. A little bit of a taunting by Culcay, putting his hands down and got caught with a huge lunging left by Andrade. That's why you don't taunt a fighter that has heavier hands than you as a better boxer. Andrade doing that leaning over, which I don't like, honestly, because it makes him so susceptible to that right hand. But because of the reach difference, good flurry to the body by Andrade as Culcay was on the inside. Landed 2 or 3 punches to the body. Definitely just a huge power difference and speed difference, athleticism difference, boxing difference. Why isn't he signed with Al Haymon? Um, Hands of Stone. I do not know the reason for that. Next time I see him, I will ask him. But as far as I know, yes, round one obviously don't Josh. Close round. Uh, yes, in the sense that just the work rate was similar, but what was effective, clean, and damaging shots was clearly in Andrade's favor. Nothing that Culcay landed was of any effect. I mean, that was worse than some Paulie Malignaggi fights, if you know what I mean, or rounds. But yeah, back to the point of the promoter. I I know he doesn't have a bad relation with Heyman. It's not like he's not willing to work with him, or his promoter's not willing to work with him. So it's not like he can't work without Heyman. He's not a top ranked guy. He's not an HBO guy. That shouldn't be a thing. Ooh, see, Andrade will do those two lunging lefts like that, and actually square himself up so much that it really makes me worried about being countered. He did it again. But he squares up when he does it. He can't keep his body perpendicular to his opponent, and that really concerns me. Not necessarily in this fight, but I mean going forward. Facing more elite guys like an Ezra Landi Laura, you can't square up like that. You just can't. One, you become off balance as your feet are moving to be squared up, so that allows you to be more susceptible to flash knockdowns. Interesting point, Hands of Stone, that the 154-pound division seems like clones of Laura, and I would say subpar clones of Laura. I want to get your comment on this, Hands of Stone. Do you think that if Jamal Charlo, the bigger one that moved up to 160, if he was still in this division, would you say he has good power? Because you're saying that none of these guys have game-changing power. And I would kind of admit that Andrade doesn't have game-changing power. I just don't believe that. But I would say Jamal Charlo does. Even though he went to a decision with Austin Trout, you have to remember Austin Trout's a beast with a hell of a chin that's taken everyone's toughest shots and bounced back up. But more exciting than Laura. Very true. Very true. See, like Culcay he's not actually a bad boxer. You can tell. If he had more power, I think he would give Andrade way more fits. Because the way he's lunging inside, throwing like 3 or 4 punch combinations, then pivoting out is giving Andrade some issues in a sense. But to me, I'm interpreting it as a lack of respect for Culcay. Not that Andrade just can't adapt to it. Oh, great left hands. Boom. Good 1-2 by Andrade, landing right down the pipe. Obviously Andrade is I said obviously way too many times right there, but Andrade is a little bit wild in his shots. Not like Deontay Wilder wild, but his shots aren't tight. They aren't compact. Like he throws his whole body into it and kind of throws his little arms into it, and that concerns me in a way. And I don't know if, again, that's an overall technique thing because he's never faced anyone to challenge him in that way, or if that's just something that he just has, that he's always going to be. He's always going to be that type of puncher. It's just the size. Yeah. Obviously the size difference is playing a factor in this because Andrade is, in all actuality, a natural middleweight who cuts down to 154, to be completely honest. And Culcay looks like a guy who walks around in the 150s and 160s and could cut to 147. Like, that's just what it looks like to me. Could be wrong because Andrade is a massive guy in the division. Yeah, OZ Luna in the chat. I question Andrade's durability. He looked really out of spots versus Willie Nelson. Yes. I think he looked like he got knocked down by Vance Monterosen. There was definitely spots in that fight. Obviously one judge gave it to Vance Monterosen in that fight. So it's funny because there are those Demetrius Andrade truthers, but I don't necessarily. I'm not on the hype train yet. I'm not. I was on the Jamal Charlo hype train after the J Rock win. I'll admit that, and even somewhat after the Austin Trout win. But Leonard Sterling, good point. Good point. I forgot about that, to be honest. That's like 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, man. Like time flies, man. I forget stuff easily. You know me. Too many fights to watch. Heck, I watched all these prelims on this card. Can't remember a single one in terms of like what significantly happened or who they were. Fern, you crack me up. Good 1-2 to the body. Andrade is just in the truest sense of the word, a hooker. He throws hooks. That's what he is best at. That's throwing those wild, hard hooks to the body and the head. I love that left hook to the body right there because that's going to set up the left hook to up top, that lunging left. That's why he hasn't been able to connect it. Canelo does a similar thing with his right hand. He throw that right hand to the body a lot, and that's how he set up his overhand right. That's how he knocked out Amir Khan. Is he threw that right hand to the body almost exclusively, and didn't throw that many overhand rights. And then boom, threw the overhand right in the 6th round. He was out. Oh, you guys in the chat, be nice now. Oh, headbutt. I could have seen that coming with the way Culcay was lunging in. It just happens like that. Either you get guys who lunge in a lot and you get headbutts in that way, or you get guys like Timothy Bradley and Diego Chavez who dip down a lot, and that'll make sure that they knock heads. Hands up stone, you crack me up. Andrade has such a shitty nickname, Boo Boo. I mean, what the fuck is that shit? Oh, it's too good. Oh, I like that left hand counter with the step back right there that started this whole flurry that we're watching right now. That's actually really impressive. And Culcay, man, he's staying in there, man. He's taking these shots pretty well. It's not like he's been wobbled. Those body shots are going to be what does him in, though, in my opinion. I think he's probably a really tough guy that doesn't get put down easily. Ooh, good uppercut. Good 1-2 to the body. Good left straight. What do you? The ref just came in and broke him up and said, keep him up to Andrade. All those hooks to the body were either right on the belt line or above it. That's bullshit. I think Andrade should definitely look in the next round to try to either put him down or finish it. Because when Andrade starts throwing in combinations and in volume, Culcay shows up. He does. He gets that European high guard and he eats shots to the body all day. And I say if you mix it up just right, throw a little bit more to the body and mix it up to the head, you're going to hurt this guy in the next round. Third round's about to be over. I give in every round to Andrade. If you give any round to Culcay, I don't see what you're saying. I'll be honest. Andrade sort of covers up too and just eats shots. That's another thing I don't like. Like he'll move his head up like sometimes, and again that could just be a product of who he's fighting. Um, classic example is Triple G versus some guys like Dominic Wade, and against some guys like David Lemieux, he fights very differently. And I think Andrade is sort of one of those guys, or he could be, not necessarily. Again, I think that just the case of Andrade is still up in the air. We do not know what he really is. Like I would say he's even more. This could sound weird because he has a win over Vance Monterosen, but I think because the nature of that win, it makes it a little more confusing. But I would say guys like Earl Spence, to me, and this might seem kind of ridiculous, but I'm higher on Earl Spence's potential than I am on Andrade's, right? I agree, Hamstone. This does kind of look messy, like he doesn't keep his shots tight. You know, he doesn't. He doesn't keep them compact. He doesn't keep the elbows in. And some of these punches are arm punches. Honestly, they're all arms. You know, because I don't know. I'm just again for all you Demetrius Andrade truthers. I want to see you guys in the chat. Email me, matt@mixed-combat.com. I want to hear your reasons why this guy is the best junior middleweight in the world. I want to hear your reasons why this guy can move up to 160 and beat Triple G. Because there's guys out there that think that. Yeah, I agree, hands of stone. You know, the way Earl Spence has put out opponents is way more impressive to me than what Andrade has been doing against. I would say, I'm not gonna say better competition, but I do really highly rate having a type of guy like Vance Rosen on your record at that division. I think that's nothing to scoff at. And I don't think the Willie Nelson fight's bad either, but everything else, I'll be honest, I'm not highly impressed with anything. Nah, for now, I wouldn't say the third round was close at all. Am I the only one here thinking that Andrade's dominating? I don't know what you guys see that is close. Nothing in here is close. Demetrius Andrade is clearly landing the better shots and the harder shots. And at this point, at a way higher rate. And it's weird. Andrade, he goes back and forth from being the aggressor power puncher to trying to be a slickster on his back foot sort of boxer. And I think he shouldn't do that because I think he does it a lot worse about when he's on his back foot. I think he actually allows himself to be turned a lot. And I think that Andrade walking forward does better work as being the aggressor and just over pressuring his opponent, making them shell up. I think he's really good at that. Interesting. I like that point, Henderstone. He said, this reminds me of Khan versus Algieri, where it was meant to be a showcase fight, but Andrade/Khan ended up looking like shit and getting the win still. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm kind of an Algieri fan. Not like a fan, but like I always thought like he was a good talent in a way. Like I didn't think he was anything super special, but that's why I highly rate like the Earl Spence win over him because that was impressive. But I digress. I think that we expected the Khan Algieri fight to be closer than this. I could be wrong. You know, you could correct me, Hands of Stone or Ferngoli or who else is in the chat? Oz Luna, however you pronounce that name. But I saw Khan Algieri pre-fight being much closer than what I saw this fight. I thought he was probably going to knock him out by around the fourth round. And the fact that it's the fifth round already is it's interesting. It's kind of makes me concerned a bit. But I digress. Man, Santiago, you're fucking up here, man. You're missing all the fights. Text that guy. See, like when Andrade does this, when he tries to be that fancy counter boxer, man, I just do not. I'm not high on him at all. I'll be honest. I think when he does this, everyone in the top 5 will be able to have some good work against him and win. But if he's that pressure guy, like when he's pressuring you, throwing bombs, he's a different animal. I do think that. Like right there, when he mixed up to the body and the head like that, you know, throwing 4 or 5 punches in a row while walking his opponent down, he lands some great body work. That's something there. And against the smaller opponents, actually, good left up top. Another good left. Good right uppercut. But, you know, missed wild right there, but went to the body again with that left hook to the body. Why are you telling him to move it up, ref? What are you doing? This is why you do not fight in Germany. You get paid off refs. For the hometown boy over here. I'm just speculating. That's probably not true. Probably just a really bad ref. But none of those shots are low in my opinion. And if you think they're low, I don't know what the fuck you're thinking about or what you're saying because it's not. But back to my point, Andrade and his style. It kind of reminds me, in a way, different in terms of what the actual thing is, but in terms of the theme of it, Lamont Peterson. And it's a little bit different. I think Lamont Peterson, when he's on his back foot, being the slick boxer, he does really well. But when he's the come forward, in your face guy, he is so susceptible to shots. And the reverse for Andrade, when he's on his back foot, he is way more susceptible to shots. When he's on the front foot, he is an opposing force in this division. And I think that's something to look at going forward. Is that just a issue that he will always have? Is that just a natural fighting instinct that he has that he can never train out of? Because some people are like that. I've talked about a lot on the show that those young guys that have just boxed their whole lives or fought their whole lives and fought men at a young age. When I'm saying, like, when you're 10 to 13, you're fighting 18, 20-year-olds. When you're on that level, you become a different fighter. Henderson, I know he was successfully walking down Garcia and outboxing him easily. He won that fight. I'm not talking about that fight. I'm talking about the trend of Lamont Peterson. Don't pick out a single fight in a single style matchup. You got to pick out the trend of the fighter. This could be due to inactivity and lack of quality opposition as well. 100%. I gotta agree with you on that one because, like I've said this with Wilder too, the fact that Wilder has been inconsistent with quality opposition and actual fighting time because of his injuries, you don't have that rhythm and that momentum naturally of training and learning new techniques and new skill and adapting them to your game. Will Santiago hop on? I don't know. No, he did not hop on. I was getting excited there. What an asshole. Yeah, no, Santiago, where are you? Anyways, oh man, this brutal, brutal lefts by Andrade. And it's weird because aesthetically speaking, his power looks there. It looks like it's some legit power, but it's not that one punch knockout power. You don't see that. And yes, he is off balance a lot. I was saying that earlier about how when he lunges forward, Andrade does, he squares up, and that naturally makes him unbalanced. Like right there, as he's going back, he even squared up right there. He brought his front foot back first, which naturally squared him up and made him off balance. You bring your back foot back first, and then your lead foot back. Doubling up on the lead hand, I like that. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry about that. Old dog wanted out of the room. You know how it is. Santiago. Santiago, what are you doing? Come on, man. Let me try to fix it for you. Try to get it. Okay, Santiago, call me on the bat line. Okay. Bat line Skype. Call me on Skype, Santiago, if you're listening. And if any of you actually want to get on, you can call me on Skype, mix.combat.radio. Add me there. And after the fight, if you want to call in, give your thoughts on the fight, call on that bat line anywhere in the world for free. Mix.combat.radio. Let me call this guy.
Yellow.
Santiago.
What's up?
Okay, you're on live with Mixed Combat Radio. Thanks for finally. Yeah, you are. We've been live for a while, buddy.
How do I sound?
You sound good. You sound really good. Are you using the mic I gave you?
Yes.
Is the volume turned up all the way?
I'm assuming so.
Turn the gain. Do you see the gain button?
Yeah.
Turn that down just a little bit.
How's that?
Turn down a little bit more.
How about now?
Good, good. And make sure your mouth is as close to the mic as possible. That mic's a little bit fidgety, so it's gonna be interesting. But are you watching the fight right now? Do you have the link? Santiago. I believe he muted himself. Or something. I do not know. Oh, you're cutting out, Santiago. That's what it is. You better be using an Ethernet cable. I always tell you better be using Ethernet, not Wi-Fi. Santiago, you were breaking up bad. I may call you back. Get your shit together, Santiago. Get your shit together. Man, it's the 7th round already. Andrade on his back foot. Giving away rounds when he shouldn't.
Hello?
Santiago.
Well, ain't that a kick in the pants?
What?
I still have you on my computer, and now I have you on my phone.
Well, whatever it is, it sounds good, so don't fuck with it.
All right.
All right, are you watching the fight, Santiago?
Yeah, I am. I've been watching it since it started.
Oh, you have? Okay, good. What are your thoughts on the fight so far?
Well, first impressions when I was first watching it, it was a lot of bull rushing here and there. They really weren't establishing a style, so to say, but from the looks of it, it's been picking up. Andrade's finding his range, but Culcay's still landing some pretty decent combinations here and there.
Yeah, I don't know how much you were listening to the show before you hopped on, or if you were at all. But I was saying that Andrade is sort of a weird fighter in a way that I compared him to Lamont Peterson. Different in terms of substance, but the theme of them as a fighter is similar. That they have a natural tendency that does not actually benefit them in the ring. So Andrade naturally has a tendency to actually fight on the back foot and be a counter boxer. That's what he wants to do. But he's worse at that than he is being the aggressor, volume puncher that's throwing heavy leather. For Lamont Peterson, it's the opposite. I think Lamont Peterson on the back foot is a much better boxer and much more efficient than he's on the front foot with no jab, with that European high guard that he, for some reason, has. And I think that IQ issue, because I put up to like a ring IQ or a boxing IQ issue. That IQ issue that Andrade has, I think, is going to lead him to some issues at the highest level. That against guys like Ezelandi Lara or Jamel Charlo, or even guys like maybe Erickson Lubin at this point, they will give him trouble because Andrade does not fight in a style that's beneficial to him throughout large portions of a fight. What do you have to say about that?
Nah, I'd agree with you. He's a little like when I was watching the Willie Nelson fight with him, like he had a herky jerkiness to him that seemed to work, but at the same time kind of made it hard for him to land his punches cleanly. And like here, I can see him trying to be the boxer, but at the same time, like there's still that there's still that tendency for him to just kind of rush forward the same way Culcay does, and like smother his work.
Yeah, I think both guys are a little bit sloppy in this fight. I think Andrade's balance has been off. I think he's been squaring up a lot. Whenever he lunges in with that left, that huge looping left, he squares up his feet. When he's walking
Not
backwards, and I said this earlier, he'll put his front foot back first, which naturally squares him up, instead of having his back foot go first, then his front foot follow. Um, again, I'm not saying Andrade's bad necessarily, but there's obvious technical flaws in his game.
deficiencies.
Yeah, deficiencies that I think, especially a guy like Ezelon Laura, who's, in my opinion, the best boxer at 154 right now,
And
especially
he's very technically sound too.
obviously coming from the Cuban boxing background. But I think Andrade just has issues with guys like that because they will be able to exploit his balance issues. They'll be able to exploit his footwork issues. They will be able to exploit his ring IQ issues that guys like Jack Culcay just can't because they're too small. They don't have the power. And Andrade does have that one advantage over almost everyone in the division is that height, that power, that strength, and I think guys that are really good will negate that. And that concerns me with him going forward. And especially when you get Andrade truthers over here who think that he can move up to 160 and beat Triple G. Like there's I don't know. Like boom, like Culcay just landed like a good punch combination right there up top that had Andrade shell up for a bit. And Andrade,
Not on, not,
you can go.
not only that too, but when Andrade is throwing his combinations, they're landing, but they're landing on the gloves or the wrists, and it's like, yeah, the combinations look nice and all, but they're not exactly landing cleanly in this fight right now. Like
Yeah.
Calcay's punches, while they may not be as landing as cleanly either, they are slightly cleaner than
Oh, I
Andrade's.
wouldn't say they're slightly cleaner. I wouldn't say that. I'll be completely honest. I think Andrade still has the cleaner work, but I think that because Andrade's punching technique isn't compact, it makes it look sloppy. You know what I'm saying? Like he almost has like
No,
that.
no, I
He
understand.
has that almost that like that wildness to him that
Yeah.
makes his shots look sloppy. But his shots are connecting clean. I think like he's had a bunch of shots connect clean on the head, and I think his body work has been clean throughout the fight. I think his body work is his best part of his game so far. Oh, Culcay coming with a little 5-punch flurry right there. Nothing landing clean or hard, but it had Andrade shell up, and
Yeah.
moving straight backwards in a straight line.
No lateral movements.
None, no head movement, no defensive head movement. And
Yeah, he's
then
just kind of there
and
for
then
the
Andrade
taking.
when Andrade is pressuring him, throwing volume, I think he beats a lot of guys. He can do that because he will overpower people. He's overpowering Culcay. I'm shocked Culcay hasn't been hurt at all. Not even seemingly hurt or wobbled with a body shot, a headshot. Culcay is tough, man. He's durable.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's the fight starting to take on a much cleaner look to it too. Andrade, from the looks of it, to me too, in that round was doing a lot of his best work when he was staying in the mid range. But once Calcade just came in there and started overwhelming him with combination and just honestly trying to muscle him out, he was getting in his best work too.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be right back, Santiago. So you hold down the fort for a second, or not. You can just leave dead air on. You know, Santiago. Oh, Santiago, please tell me Skype didn't fuck up. I have to go get a water. Damn it. Calcay, man, just throwing the volume. I don't know what happened to Santiago. I wonder if he muted me or if he dropped off. Should I call back again? I don't know. Oh, he dropped off. That's what it was. That's what it was. Yes. Let me call him again. Santiago,
Hello.
did he drop off right there?
I guess so.
All right. Yeah. Get some play-by-play right now. I gotta go get some water. Okay.
It's all good. Here we go.
Don't leave dead air.
Sorry about that, everybody. Try not to. Sorry about that, everybody. Call dropped off, but now we're here back trying to watch the live broadcast. Slight technical difficulties, unfortunately. Let's see.
Do you not have the fight up, Santiago?
I don't know why for some reason it just paused and it won't let me play it.
That's not good. Just reload the page or whatever.
That's what I just did.
Andrade does have a good
There you
jab.
go. Now it's
I'll
playing.
put it that way. And I'm just waiting for you to be ready,
No, he's
and I'll
got
go
a
get some water.
he's got
So you let me know when you're
very
ready.
solid jab. And if you can, I'm sorry.
I said, whenever you have the fight up, let me know.
Oh no, I got the fight running right now.
All right, I'm gonna go get some water.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Andrade's got a really good jab, and he's using it really well to keep distance with Culcay when he can. Culcay is like staying on the outside where Andrade wants him to be right now. You know, he's got his guard up pretty high, and if he can keep that up, then he's pretty much got this fight in the bag. But Culcay is lunging in and making it a very rough and tough fight for Andrade. Like right now, the referee separated them. They're keeping distance from one another. Andrade just landed a jab just to keep him out. Looping lead left. Couple more jabs to Culcay. Culcay just threw in a 1-2, lunging in. They're working the body, both guys. Straight right, wild right hook to Culcay, which didn't land. Culcay threw a 1-2 that missed. Andrade came back with a 3-punch combo. 2 punches landed. Culcay threw a jab that caught him a little off balance. And that's the end of the round. Both guys are trying to win the fight. Culcay is definitely giving Andrade his fair share of problems, but Andrade's starting to, but at the same time, also still losing ground with Culcay with some of these wild shots throwing. Because Culcay has definitely been in there tit for tat with Andrade, making sure that Andrade realizes, hey, I'm still here. I'm the WBA champion for a reason, and making this a much closer fight than I personally thought it would be. Hopefully, my co-host does not take too long getting back and gets himself a nice glass of water while he's at it too. There we go.
I'm back, Santiago.
Welcome back, Matt.
Thank you.
We're just talking about that.
Have I missed anything? Couple good jabs by Andrade.
Not much. They're pretty much just going the last round, that the last few minutes that you missed. They were just pretty much standing there going tit for tat, really.
Yeah.
With
I got to point this out.
Pretty wild shots.
I got to point this out. It happened maybe 30 seconds ago. Andrade threw 2 jabs, doubled up on the jab, and threw, I believe it was a right uppercut, and he completely squared. His feet were so wide apart, he was off balance to begin with, and then he brought his back foot parallel with his front foot to throw that uppercut. I mean, oh my God.
Definitely.
You can't do that at the highest level. You just cannot do that.
No, there are a lot of technical deficiencies in his game that are definitely going to limit him as a world-class fighter.
And I wonder if Oh, I thought they were taking off the gloves. I was like, what the fuck's happening? But I wonder if the seeming not lack of like fight ending power, but that's what it almost seems like, because he does seem to have power, but it's not fight ending power. If his technical deficiencies were improved, if he had his shots a little more compact, use his body more correctly to throw the shots, would that seemingly power that he possesses change to fight changing power? And I want your take on that. Do you think if he shored up his technical deficiencies, would we see that power start ending fights more often?
Oh no, most definitely. I mean, when you think about the better technique for more power, all you got to do is look back to the two faces of Thomas Hearns. When he was an amateur, he was known as a light punching guy, but when he started shoring up his technique, he was pretty much knocking sons of bitches out left and right.
Yeah,
So
I
it goes
agree.
to show how far just working on your technical efficiencies can take you in a fight.
Yeah. Oh, see, like when you're just doing that, when you're just leaning over like that, throwing a couple jabs, I hate that shit. And why is he in the orthodox stance right now? Like, why? It doesn't do anything better for him.
Yeah.
You broke up a little bit right there, Santiago.
Those him probably starting to be fatiguing a little bit more.
Oh, you sounded so bad right there at the beginning. Talk a little bit right now, Santiago.
Yeah, I was saying
That's
that
better.
I think the fact that he's switching has a little bit more to be with him
Oh, man, you keep
fatiguing
cutting
than
out.
anything else. I've been spamming.
You
He has
keep
been.
cutting out, Santiago. I'm gonna hang
I keep
up
cutting out.
and call you. I'm gonna call you back. Okay.
All right.
Look at me, man, doing all the work over here for Santiago. Lazy ass. That was the end of the 7th round, 8th round. Nah, I feel like it's way later than that. Must be like the 10th round. Santiago, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here, buddy. What's up?
Okay, you sound better.
Better?
Yeah. Oh God, that replay of that right hand was just so atrocious. Oh God, and it's sad because like, and I'm not saying like he's bad, because he's obviously not a bad fighter. He beat Vans Monterosen. He beat Willie Nelson. Like, he deserves to be in the top 10, obviously. But the delusional fanboys for this guy make no sense to me. I mean, from the Danny Garcia truthers that think he beat Keith Thurman, a la Pittsburgh Bruce. I'm calling you out, motherfucker. And Demetrius Andrade truthers, and the list goes on and on of all these truthers in boxing. And oh man, they're crazy. They are, man. Like, there's people that I know, and I caught flack for this, for the TBV film study for Triple G Murray, and I call Triple G's game basic. I did not mean that in a derogatory way. I meant it. What he does is simple, but he does it so excellent and perfected that it's so hard to beat. That was pretty much my exact words on the TBV show we did. And I had Triple G fanboys out the woodwork calling me out for how dare you say that his game is basic? How dare you impeach upon the holy supreme leader of boxing and Triple G? And obviously, like, Boo Boo Andrade fans are of a lesser level and less of them than Triple G fans, but they're still delusional. They still think he can go up there and beat Triple G, beat Canelo, beat Laura, beat all these guys, and everyone's ducking him. Right? There's people that think that, and that just makes no sense to me. He's literally just changing his stance as he's walking forward and screwing up the whole time. Like, that is literally what he just did. He's doing it right now. Oh my God. And it's just like, all you need is a good counter boxer that can pivot off of that and throw a good uppercut, maybe a 1-2 hook or something like that, and you will hurt Andrade. There's a reason he went down against Vans Monterosen, a boxer of some skill. Just ridiculous. Oh, Santiago, mute yourself. God. Mute yourself. Mute yourself. I mean, hang up. I had to hang up, guys. I'm sorry. Santiago, what the fuck were you thinking, man? It sounded so bad. Yeah, and I see what you're saying, Fern, about yeah, Hands of Stone, you're completely right. Like that, and people latch on trigger words, like they latch on words. Like when I say gatekeeper, people latch on that and say, you can't say that. You can't say that a guy is not elite or that he's never going to be elite. But I'm sorry, there's a room for guys for that. If you don't think Sean Porter is at the point of his career where he's a gatekeeper, then I don't know what the fuck you're watching. And I don't mean that as any disrespect to Sean Porter. Sean Porter is the top 7 or 8 welterweight in the world. You can maybe make an argument for top 5, but he's still a gatekeeper. You're not the elite, and it's okay to not be the elite. The sport needs people like that. The sport needs the top 100th guy just as much as they need the top 5 guys, because that's the whole progression. You got guys that go up through the rankings like that. They have to face the 100th guy, then the 60th ranked guy, then the 30th ranked guy, then the 10th ranked guy, and so forth, and all in between. And it's just that there's trigger words in boxing and in combat sports that people don't like. And obviously some of them are warranted for a reaction. Like when you use the word bum, like that deserves a reaction in a way. And I've used that word a little bit liberally at times. But cherry pick, I think when you say somebody's a cherry pick, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I get why people are upset about it. But again, no disrespect to Jeff Horn, but he's a fucking cherry pick for Manny Pacquiao. No disrespect for Jesse Vargas even, who's maybe a top 10 welterweight. But he was a cherry pick for Manny Pacquiao. Because a cherry pick is all that means is that you took a less dangerous fight than other fights available to you at the time. That's a cherry pick. That's the definition of it. You may have a different definition of it, and that's fine. But that's my definition of it. Let me see what Santiago's up to. Sound like his gardeners came and the weed whackers and lawn mowers and shit. Man, God. Now I will admit, I love seeing Andrade dig to the body. I will. That's one thing that I think he is naturally really good at, is knowing how to place shots to the body. But again, he doesn't throw his own body into the shots in the correct way, which therefore takes some power off his shots, which don't make them the most effective. But they're the cleaner shots, I would say. Again, this is going to be a close decision, I think, because you get stuff like that happening where Culcay is just turning Andrade, throwing hacking shots that don't really land, but he's throwing 6 punches at a time and Andrade is just shelling up. That will always look bad. And vice versa. Ooh, good left by Andrade down the pipe that popped Culcay's head back. Good counter right hook from Andrade on the inside that looked to do some damage, but didn't for some reason. No, again, Culcay just missed. Never been knocked out before, so maybe just a tough motherfucker, I don't know. Collazo and Berto are also gatekeepers. They're just different levels of gatekeeper, Hands of Stone. Santiago, you back with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay, man. Oh, God, they're just going at each other right now. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Andrade got hurt. Andrade got hurt by a huge right hook. Man, did you see that, Santiago?
Yeah, that looked really bad right there.
He got
Probably
hurt. He got
the one
hurt.
highlight of the fight so far.
Oh, okay. Is like, oh my god, I can actually hurt this guy. I can actually win. Maybe. It's what round is it?
I think it might be the ninth.
No, it's the 12th round, dude. It's the last round,
It's
man.
the 12th round already.
Oh my
Holy shit!
god. Wow. Final
Wow.
30 seconds of the fight. Culcay lands a beautiful right hook on the inside that definitely wobbled Andrade. They had a good scrap. I'll admit that. They went at it. I just thought that because of the sloppiness, the thought process that this was going to be a showcase, I think that just most of it just did not meet our expectations, whatever those expectations were. And just immediate thoughts on the fight, Santiago.
Yeah, no, obviously I'm of the same thought process too. You know, the fight was a pretty sloppy affair to say the least. Calcay definitely went in there and showed that, you know, he wasn't there just to be easy pickings for someone like Andrade. Because, you know, being frank, I thought this was going to be a fairly simple fight for Andrade. You know, I thought, you know, I'd never heard of Jack Calcay prior to this fight. You know, Andrade was going in there for the WBA title, and Calcay kind of proved me wrong in that. Hey, you know what? This might be somebody I might consider watching in the future.
I wouldn't put it that far. I'll be honest. Not that I
No,
wouldn't
but
mind
that's
watching
just
him,
my personal opinion,
but like
obviously.
I'll put it this way: if he loses this fight, which I think he's going to lose this fight, but if he loses it and fought like a guy along the lines of like a Tony Harrison, I might be interested. Guy coming off a loss, definitely needs a bounce back. But I want to see him against a guy that's more natural to the 154-pound weight class before I have any thoughts on Culcay, because he fought a very sloppy boxer who was just literally a head taller than him. You know, probably weighs 15 to 20 more pounds more than him right now. So I need to see more of Culcay before I make any sort of thought process on him definitive. But man, I'm really disappointed in Andrade. I'll be honest. I thought he was going to do better. Just like
No,
you,
you and
just
me
like
both.
everyone. I think everyone thought he was going to do better. And
Yeah,
again,
you want to? Did you see what the scorecards were? Right there on the Darren Barker scorecard.
yeah, what
One
116 to 112?
117 and 113.
Oh, I didn't see that. Now, were those the official judges scorecards or
No, those weren't the official judges'
okay, because
scorecards.
I have the sound off right now, so I don't know. I should probably put the sound on.
Yeah, you should. I'm not gonna put mine on.
Okay.
Because I feel Andre dominated those rounds, but coming towards the end of the third, you could sense Culcay was coming into it. But you know,
Andrade and the new. Dude, you got clipped like a motherfucker from a guy half your size in the 12th round, dude. You should put that guy out in the 4th or 5th round, Andrade. What are you thinking?
There was an argument to say that maybe Andre won those rounds.
Pretty much what everybody thought he should have been able to do.
He's tough. They are tough to score.
Well, I've got Andrade by 4, and I've got 2 of the rounds even. So, and some of the other rounds are close. I mean, it's tough, and it's not like Andrade's come here the champion. And when you travel abroad, or if you're fighting the champion nonetheless, you really need to rip the title away from him. And some could argue, has he done that? I think he's done enough to win the fight, don't get me wrong.
The MC has a slip of paper in his hand. I'm just scanning ringside.
This is boxing. We never know. And in Germany.
Shit happens, man.
Shit happens.
Culcay's hometown, no less.
Hold on.
Zum offiziellen Urteil. Bevor wir dieses Urteil hier verkünden,
Fuck, it's in German.
beide Boxer einen Riesenapplaus. Toller Kampf. Great fight, guys. Thanks a lot.
Let's hope they say the decision in English.
Stan Christodoulou wertet diesen Kampf 112 zu 116 für Andrade.
Okay, scorecard for Andre.
Giuseppe Cardone wertet diesen Kampf 115-114 für Culcay.
God damn it. God fucking damn it.
All right, so
Oh
are
my
we gonna
God.
get a split decision or a split draw?
112 zu 116. Und damit neuer Weltmeister im Super-Weltergewicht aus den USA, Demetrius Andrade.
Okay, thank God he won.
Well, Demetrius Andrade gets.
You want a split decision? Think about that.
I mean, and somebody in the live chat, I think it was Leonard Sterling, said or asked, like, is it out of the question if Culcay got a win right here? And Hands of Stone said yes, it should be, and I agree with Hands of Stone in that aspect. But Demetrius Andrade looked like shit, man. Like, there was definitely rounds where if you were in any way, shape, or form biased for Culcay or biased against Andrade, I could see you giving 5 rounds to Culcay, you know, like, but again, I don't have that scorecard. I have it more like 117, like 111 or whatever. Like I have it really wide because I thought Culcay just didn't do that much. His shots weren't effective until the very end. But robbery, split decision, what? Somebody in the chat saying it's a robbery? You better not think that. What the fuck?
Culcay had everything to make it a robbery in his case. Germany, he's from Germany.
Yeah, if he got that decision, or if you're saying that just the fact that it's a split decision, it's a robbery. I don't. That's not the right use of the word robbery. Like the right guy still won. There was just one controversial scorecard. So Leonard Sterling, correct yourself in that live chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna give you more shit. But yeah, let's wrap this up. Final thoughts on the matchup, Santiago, and on Andrade's future. Who would you like to see him fight next? Same with Culcay.
Well, my thoughts on this fight overall, obviously we saw a lot of the technical deficiencies that Andrade has as a fighter, things that will not serve him well if he does nothing to, improve his overall game the same way Wilder needs to improve his overall game. Culcay did pretty well for somebody who I'd never heard of. And like you, I would probably like to see him up against maybe someone like Tony Harrison, maybe, coming off that loss to Jared Hurd. Really, I really don't know who I could see, any of these guys up against next, especially Andrade, because if Andrade doesn't do anything to fix his game, his future is not going to be as bright as he thinks it can be.
I forget. Did you say who you wanted Andrade to fight next?
No, I didn't say who I wanted Andrade to fight next. And to be honest, I'm not really sure who I could see him up against because who would really take him? I mean, he's had such difficulties getting fights overall. The Willie Nelson fight was, I don't know how long ago for that matter, too. So it's kind of like who would really be up to take task with him? Obviously there are a couple fights I'd like to see him up against, maybe a Charlo who he'd probably lose to, maybe Tony Harrison. I don't know, to be honest with you. It really just depends who watches this fight and who says, hey, you know what? Demetrius Andrade is right for the picking.
True. And my final thoughts on the fight. I thought Andrade was did everything that we knew he could do, but didn't do anything we thought that he had the potential to do. And I think that because Andrade had so much hype around his name going to this fight in a way, because he had been quote unquote ducked. And I'm not saying he was ducked. I'm saying that there is that public narrative out there that he is the triple G of the junior middleweight division. So there was hype surrounding him for this fight. He was supposed to go out there and showcase and call out the Lauras and the Charlos and go, I'm right here. I'm better than all you guys. Let's go. And off of this win, he can't say that because he looks sloppy. His technique has not improved in any shape or form. Is part of that due to the lack of activity in terms of just fight schedule for him, possibly. But he did not impress. And yes, he is still a top 10 junior middleweight, but I think the idea that he is a top 5 junior middleweight needs to start being questioned and reviewed and looked at. Who would I like to see him fight next? I think a battle of the two lesser boxers in terms of champions, Jared Hurd and Demetrius Andrade. That's the fight to me.
Yeah, that's the fight too. Unification right
unification off the bat. It's not like Jared Hurd is a threatening fighter or a skilled boxer in the way that Laura is, or even that Jamel Charlo is, that they could outbox him. And vice versa, Jared Hurd has some technical difficulties that Andrade could definitely exploit. I think Jared Hurd does not take pressure well. So I would love to see Andrade's pressure work against him and see what that would do. Plus, both are southpaws. That always creates interesting matchups. So that would be my matchup for him next. Now, Jack Culcay. I think a little bit of it is almost like that Artur Akavov fight when he fought Billy Joe Saunders after Billy Joe Saunders returned from the ring after a while. That we saw a guy that in all actuality is not that good. That is not top 10, not even close. But gave a real legit top 10 fighter a tough fight, gave him a competitive fight throughout, and will probably be on some sort of television next. I don't know who's the right opponent for Jack Culcay. I did mention Tony Harrison or Willie Nelson because they're both coming off losses. That'd be good bounce back fights for both of them. Get Jack Culcay in some U.S. television potentially. Because if he is good, if this fight isn't a fluke, if he is actually just that good against the top 10, then he deserves to be in the top 10. And I want to see him prove that. So I don't know that the jury is still out on Culcay and on Andrade. But I think it's clear that Andrade is just a level above Culcay at this point, even though Culcay in that last round landed a flush right hook that definitely wobbled Andrade. I think there is a concern about Andrade's chin at this point, or at least that should be talked about. For a guy,
he's definitely a far cry from what all these Bubo Andrade, fanboys keep saying, that he's like the guy that can take on the monster Triple G. He's definitely a far cry from what they're claiming he is.
Yes, because I mean Triple G just has a Hall of Fame chin compared to Andrade. Let's just be completely honest. I think if Andrade had the chin of a Triple G, I think he'd be a much better, more effective boxer and fighter. But I digress. It has been a great show. Santiago, thanks for hopping on with me late. I know this was sort of last minute and a little bit disorganized because we didn't know when the fight was going to start. So thank you for that, Santiago.
No, thanks a lot for having me on, man. I appreciate being on, even though everything they kind of go a little screwy.
You want to give out any social media information right now?
Yeah, for those who follow boxing, feel free to follow me on my social media, facebook.com/SANT731.
And obviously, if you listen to this podcast on YouTube, you can obviously subscribe right there on the button right below to this channel. Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio if you want to help support the show, get us to do more episodes, better production quality and such. iTunes, Mixed Combat Radio, SoundCloud, Mixed Combat Radio, Facebook, Mixed Combat Radio, and Santiago, me and you're going to have a chat after this show really fast about my Facebook or our Facebook page, because let's be honest, you're a part of this as much as I am. Because Mixed Combat Radio needs a more dedicated Facebook admin, and since you already do that on Facebook, I'm going to ask you. But anyways, I digress. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Hit that like and share button. I might be back tonight. I'm thinking about it. We have a UFC tonight. We have HBO boxing. I'm going to talk to Santiago off air about that as well. So you can follow me at Mixed Combat News on Twitter to get more direct contact with me. Everyone, peace. I'll probably see you tonight. Have a good one.